How to read more than 300 books in a year. Hi, I'm Lori from LoriThayer.com, and it is November 15th, 2017, and yesterday I hit 300 books read for the year. So I'm going to hit well over that because I'm certainly not done reading, just because I've got a month and a half until the year is over. First of all, why would you read that much? Probably because you love reading. I love to read, and so most people aren't going to shoot for reading 300 books in a year. That was certainly not my goal, but it happened because I love reading, and I read a lot, clearly. So, yeah, you're not going to read that many if you don't love reading. But even if you just want to read a little bit more, maybe your goal is 30 books in a year or 10 books in a year. Start where you are, right? Don't compare yourself to me, but if you want to read more, let's talk a little bit about how you can do that. So first, what to stop doing. So I'm reading 300 books in a year. I regularly average well over 200. I've been tracking on Goodreads.com for quite a few years now. I don't really watch TV. There's maybe some shows I'll watch the recording later, like 1 or 2, but that's just not how I spend my time. My husband and I will maybe average 1 movie a week that we watch, but even that. So I rarely have the screen on. My computer screen is a whole different matter, but the TV is just really not something I spend time on. It gives me a lot more time. This year, secondly, both the kids have graduated and have moved out of the house. So that does free up some time for things like reading, let's be honest. But even when they weren't out of the house and we had them half-time, I was still averaging well over 200 books a year. So there's a couple things to stop doing. What to start doing is have a book with you wherever you go, right? And that may sound difficult. Back in the day, we would go on trips, and in my luggage, in my carry-on bag, I'd have books and magazines, and I mean lots of books, and it was heavy. Well, these days, I take my ebook reader, which is a Kindle Paperwhite, with me on any trips, and I read it a lot at home. I listen to audiobooks a lot. So I don't know the exact ratio of physical books to ebooks to audiobooks because I don't track the physical books versus Kindle books at all. I loosely track the audiobooks. My guess would be maybe 50%. I don't even think it's that high, is audiobooks. But, I listen to audiobooks on my way to and from work. I will often listen as I'm doing things around the house, or as I'm working on the computer. I multitask. I used to listen to books most of the day during work, but probably about 3 months ago I stopped being able to do that. I do occasionally listen to books some at work because I can. A lot of people can't do that. I think some training I did in high school allows my brain to work that way. Anyway, so listening to books, and I freely admit I speed up the books when I listen because I've gotten used to listening at a faster pace. I used to do double time a lot, and I've kind of backed off of that. So it's usually 1.5 times or 1.75% faster. Occasionally I'll slow it down to, normal speed, but that usually just feels way too slow for me. So those are some things to start doing to fit more time in for reading. Help yourself by tracking. Like I said, I use Goodreads.com to track all the books. I can easily, when I finish a book actually on my Kindle, I can press with my finger and choose Add to Goodreads shelf, and I just put it on my read shelf, and then I later go in and I add the start date, or the end date. I think when I add it to the shelf from Kindle, it only puts it on the end date, and I have to put the vice versa, one of those. I think I have to put the end date, it puts the start date of when I added it. Audiobooks, I think I have to go in and track manually. You might be able to add those automatically as well. Anyway, tracking helps. I mean, it's nice, it's interesting to know, and you can actually kind of also go and see some stats and see, how many pages. You can actually see it broken down by year of like how many 5-star, 4-star, 3-star reviews. I rarely leave like a text review of any books, but I leave stars for my own personal interest. And frankly, I need that list on Goodreads to sometimes figure out if I've read the book before. Once you start the book, you figure it out, but I don't remember the names or authors because I read so much that well. And I read for pleasure, way more than I read for learning or studying specific subjects. Because that's a whole different thing. Like, if you're like reading intense, deep books, I doubt you're going to hit that many books a year. I read some of those, and sometimes I read really long books. 2014, I read the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan, and all of those books are like 1,000 pages or more each. And I was reading an audiobook, but that's like 13 books that are over 1,000 pages, which is not close to that. Those took a long time. The other thing I came across today, if you want to encourage yourself to read more, is I saw this app called Bookout. Check that out on, Apple or Android for your mobile phone, and you can set a goal on there for how many pages you want to read a month or like a time frame, and it helps you with reminders. I am definitely not going to do that because I read enough. And I think that would take away from me a little bit of the joy of reading if I'm constantly tracking. So a couple of years ago, I got pretty close to 300 books, and it was in December, and it was kind of funny because I started thinking like, I can make that number. And then I started going, well, maybe I should pick shorter books, right? So I can hit it. And I was just like, that's not what reading is about for me. And it really felt yucky. So I was just like, I accepted. It's like, I'm not going to hit that number this year, and that's fine. I'm not going to set it as a goal to hit that high because that's just not the way I'm built. I didn't want to. That didn't feel good. So, but if you're trying to encourage yourself to read, or maybe you have a child you want to read, right, and they're already kind of needing to track pages read for school or something, I think that could be a great tool. The Bookout was the name of it. And there might be other apps like that. If you know about them, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about them. Things that encourage people, people to read, kids to read are really great. I mean, I definitely took part in those kind of competitions when I was a kid. I would get, free Pizza Hut personal pan pizzas for reading so many books. And my parents are readers too, so it was modeled for me. So, the more you model reading to your kids, the more they might pick it up and find that they really enjoy it. The other thing I wanted to talk about is where to get books. So if you're reading, 300 books a year, a lot of books, and you're just like, where do I even find any I like? Well, first of all, how to find ideas for what books you might like. I would go on Goodreads and I would look at the books you like and see what suggestions they have for that. There are lists. There's a lot of groups that create lists on Goodreads that you could check out. Occasionally I do that. I probably on Amazon a lot, and I see books suggested, or, I have authors that I like, or if I find an author I like, I'll start reading all of their books. I try a lot of new things. So this will kind of go into next is, also before I switch, ask your friends, what books did they like, and start a list. And you could do that in Goodreads. You just put it in the want to read column. Start a list of books you're interested in reading, right? And that's a great place. It's as a recommendation from people. And that's another way I can see what books other people are saying they've started to read or they want to read. And so then it kind of pops up and it brings up my attention. So I can kind of look, does that look interesting? And I can mark it as I want to read. So how do I actually get all these books to read? Because if I'm buying them all, that's hell of expensive. And frankly, I probably spend a lot more than I could or should on how I do get my books, but it works for me right now, so it's okay. First of all, the library. Your local library. Love it. You can go to the physical library and pick up books. You can get books on CD. I think I have any right now, but I still do that. And I will admit, when I get a book on CD, I will actually rip it to an MP3 and put it on my phone. I do not share it with other people. I'm listening for myself, and then I delete it. So if you're doing that with a CD book, please do that and don't share that information, with other people. Because I don't, want them to stop having it, because so many people are abusing that. So library physical books. For CD audiobooks, most libraries also have some form of online media where you can get and download ebooks or audiobooks as well. A lot of libraries are affiliated with Overdrive. So then you can go through Overdrive, and they actually have a brand new app called Libby, which now you can get your audiobooks and ebooks too through Libby. I can also, on my library with Overdrive system, have it go through Amazon and send it to my Kindle, so I can read a lot of those library books right on my Kindle. And that's great. I'll put a lot of books on hold there, and then when I get them, download them, read them, whether it's an ebook, whether it's an audiobook that I can speed up. So library is a great resource. And a lot of times, even if I find a book I'm interested in somewhere else, I'll go see if the library has it, especially on the online media section, and try to get it there. I know I'm most likely to listen to an audiobook or read an ebook than I am physical. It's like audiobooks, probably number 1, ebooks number 2, physical books number 3, because it's just, I'm kind of unlikely to pick them up. And actually, yeah, I have, is this one different? It is different, okay. This is one book I have from the library sitting around right now. I've had it for a while. It's pretty new. I have not even remotely started it, because it's unlikely. For me, this is terrible. If I'm reading a physical book, most likely I have to focus and only do that. I tend to multitask. I know it's not great these days, but I do tend to. Because even if it's an ebook, I could be like in the bath, or I'm a lot less likely to take a physical book in the bathtub with me. Anyway, back to where you can get your books. Okay, so we talked about the library. Next, I signed up for BookBub. I'll add a link in the comments so you can see what that is. And then you can kind of say, I like these kind of books, or I like these authors or specific titles. And they will send you like free or low cost books that you can get like from Kindle, Amazon. And I get a ton of books through there. I'll just give them a try, right? Because a lot of times they're by people I don't know. And probably like everybody, right? You kind of pick visually, you're like, cover looks interesting. I'll look at the description and maybe it looks good, maybe not. And if it's free, yeah, probably I'll grab it and then I'll read it if I have time, or if it looks interesting or I'm drawn to it. Occasionally I'll pay for a book that I see on there. That's usually if I know the author and I really like that author or something, but you can get a ton of free ones. I get the recommendations from BookBub every day. And there's probably at least 2 free ones a day on just that list. There are recommendations from me. Some days a lot more. Now, so that doesn't cost you anything, right? If you're just getting free books that are recommended from BookBub, it might not be the top most popular books out there, but you can find a lot of good books that you probably can enjoy, and you'll find some gems. I have, and I found a lot that I don't like either. I have probably stopped reading more books than I ever have this year, where I'm just like, oh God, please, not this storyline again, right? Or it's just like, I don't like this. And I will delete it, remove it. I'll stop reading it. Especially, I found since I've been reading so much, my tolerance is much lower for like what for me is a really crappy book, or just a tone I don't like in a book. It's out. I don't have time to waste on that. I read for pleasure. I don't want to waste time reading something that I'm not enjoying. So, BookBub is a great way. I got to tell you. So my Kindle Paperwhite, which isn't the newest one, I don't know, it's a few years old. I have a couple times in the last month gotten warnings that I'm running out of memory. I have over 1,100 books on there, and 90% of those are not read. Because once I read a book, I'll remove it from the Kindle, unless it's one that I read over and over. I have some books that I'll read over and over, but not very many. So I would say the majority of those have got to be since I've joined that BookBub list and see all those free ones all the time. So, I mean, literally yesterday I was deleting books to free up room from the Kindle, which Amazon could really do some better ways to be able to look and see those books and categorize them. We'll go into that today. Okay, other places to get books. I do the Kindle Unlimited program. It's $10 a month, $9.99, and I actually I got a deal where I bought like a year or 2 years worth for savings, so I saved more off of that. And I'm an Amazon Prime member too. I think you have to be for being in the Kindle Unlimited. Not 100% because I've been in it for a while. So I get a lot of books I like through that. So those are books that you would have to pay for otherwise. Occasionally I'll see books on BookBub that are also on the Kindle Unlimited. So it's not a must-have, but it's another good option. I'll admit probably the majority, probably 70% of the books I read in a year are romance books. Like I said, I read for pleasure. And because I do a lot of learning about different topics in other ways. I take a lot of online courses. I listen to podcasts. If I'm reading, I'm usually reading for pleasure. I mean, I will read and listen to, nonfiction books or other genres occasionally, but the majority is romance. So through BookBub, through Kindle Unlimited, I can find a lot that I like and enjoy, and authors that have a bunch of books that I can then find one I like and go through and do a bunch of others in the series. So that's nice. So the other one is Audible. I've been a member of Audible for a couple of years now, and I like them. Until just recently, I got 2 credits a month, and I would usually save those credits for the deals where I could buy, for 1 credit gets me 2 books or something, or 2 credits gets you 3 books or whatever when they'd have special deals. And then I would go get it because I need volume. I need a lot of content for how much I read. I like Audible. It works really well. The app works really well. I did try another service earlier this year, and I'm not going to remember the name. I'm sorry. I'll look it up and I'll add the information in the comments. It's like Media Play or something like that. And they have ebooks, they have audiobooks, they have music, whatever. And I did a trial and like a month of like just the audiobook subscription. And the reason I wanted to try that is it was like unlimited audiobooks for whatever they had for like $10 a month. And I'm like, that's a good deal for me because versus Kindle or Audible, where I was paying like $22 a month for 2 credits, which is essentially 2 books, unless you're stretching it the way I stretch it. So I've used that for a month or 2, and there were so many bugs. When I canceled, I'm a software tester by day. So not necessarily an app tester, but I test software. The amount of bugs and the problems I had were so frustrating that the deal on the books was not worth it for me. And especially because I'm using that app every day. And it was frustrating. So it would, so you could have lists that you put your books in. That would maybe work sometimes, would not work other times. The books would be there or they're not be there. Or they were there, but it would say it wasn't there. It was really weird. I would start playing a book. Something would happen, and it would lose my place. Totally. So then I'm wasting time trying to figure out where it was. And it would never remember the speed I was at either. So then when I came back in, I also had to fix the speed. Finding books was also like, they had a bunch of categories and stuff, but it really didn't work that well. I think if you knew what you were looking for, it was better. Like if you had a title but for just like browsing, no, it did not work that well. And they had more capability for that than Audible does on the app, but on the, I don't even think it was worth that well on the website. It was too much. It was too much for me. And I was like, you know what, maybe I'll come back and try this again at some point and they'll have made it better. But from my point of view, they probably bit off more than they could chew. Like, I'm trying to do ebooks, audiobooks, music, video. They were doing all sorts of stuff. But if your app isn't really working well, your customers aren't going to be very happy. So, maybe pick one and focus on it and then add the other. Nah. It didn't work for me. But I will add the link if it's something you want to check out. Like I said, it's probably been 9 months now. Could think they're working a lot better. I don't know. If they are, I'd love to hear about it. So I still do Audible. I went back to Audible. I had put my Audible on hold. And I went back, and then just last week or the week before, Audible has a beta program or a new program where they call it the Romance Package. So you have to be a Kindle Unlimited member, because Audible is owned by Amazon, right? You have to be a Kindle Unlimited member, and it's like $6.95 a month. And then not all of the romance books, but all of the romance books that are in this package, you can listen unlimited, 10 at a time. So Kindle Unlimited is also 10 at a time you can have. And then when you want a new one, you return one and you just manage that. So this romance package works the same way. You can have up to 10 books at a time. The options seem to be pretty good. Not every romance book they have is in there, but a lot are. I am really hoping that they're going to expand this to other genres. I hope it's going to be kind of an unlimited package, not get romance, here get science fiction, here get nonfiction. Not good for, people like me who I don't only want to listen to romance. So I'm liking that. I am liking it. I've probably listened to 4 or 5 books on there so far. And of course, it's the same experience as any other Kindle book. Works pretty well. There's a few things software-wise they could improve on for that, but I like it. So anyway, when they offered that, I went back to just one Audible credit a month. And for me, that ended up being, I think it was a pretty even trade-off. The price for me for one Audible credit a month plus the romance package was about the same as the cost of 2 credits a month, which like I said, for the amount I read, it's a great deal. I still have a lot of other books I'm listening to, so I'm not only listening to, books on the romance package, so I don't have a feel for, in 6 months, how many I might be going through. But it's definitely worth it for me. Okay, Mom, hopefully I got a lot of good information for you. So, recap. I just hit 300 books yesterday with a month and a half left to go in 2017. So I'm probably going to hit about 320 or so. So I read a lot of books. Who cares? You might want to read more. Maybe you're just like, how the hell does that happen? Because frankly, I would have been interested in that before I did it. I was not trying to hit this goal this year at all. It just happened. I will say, I think reading a lot of Kindle Unlimited and BookBub books, I think a lot of those are shorter. Maybe they average 150 pages. I haven't really done a study of it, but I think a lot of them are shorter. So that does bring your number of books up. Certainly not all the books I read are short, but a lot of them I can't see because they're ebooks and they're audiobooks, and I'm not measuring by night. Anyway, to fit more time in for reading, it's less screen time, less TV, more time for yourself, and finding some time, in those middle minutes, right? When you're waiting in the doctor's office, when you're driving to and from work, I like long baths, and I regularly take a long bath and read for an hour and a half or so. I enjoy it. I read in bed at night before I go to sleep, and sometimes that's supposed to be 30 minutes, and it ends up being 2 hours. So reading clearly is a priority in my life because I really enjoy it. And for me, it's kind of that down, quiet time. I'm an introvert, and I definitely recharge kind of by myself. And it's one of those ways that I have that time. And you know what? I love my life. I have a great life, but I think we all kind of enjoy that mental escape, which is what so many people get from television, right? And I've just switched. I get my mental escape in my books. And I really like that. And I've seen a lot of benefits in my life from how much I read. It's 2 words I know that my husband, who's a teacher, has never even heard of. And I'm pretty sure I know those words just because I read them in a book. And I've got the context of what the word is. Anyway, so that's how to find some more time in for tracking. I really love Goodreads. You can find me on there, right there, if you want to be friends with me on there and look at the books I read. Like I said, I'll admit, at least 70% are romance books. So if you don't like that, you might not be interested in what I'm reading. But there's interesting things as well. I read a lot of good books as well. This year it's been a lot of Brene Brown. I think I really only started reading her books this year. And a couple of Gretchen Rubin books. The 4 Tendencies I just read recently was really good. I just started yesterday, the, what is it? I'm going to have to look it up. I'm going to get it wrong. I told you I'm bad with the names of the books. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That's what I'm reading right now. I'm about halfway through it. Well, it's not the only book. I usually have a lot of books in one moment. Anyway, those are a bunch of ideas for how to fit in some more time reading, where to get those books, how to do it, how to encourage yourself to read a bit more. I hope it was helpful for you. If you have questions, I'd love to hear them. And I hope you maybe find a little bit more time to read and you enjoy it as much as I do. Have a great day.